So I want to start with um talking about the fact that basically you will not see any news regarding CM Punk or Vince McMahon in the news videos because in the months leading up to this, the two people that were more heavily talked about than everybody else at nauseum in the news was Vince McMahon and CM Punk, because everybody was so fixated on the possibility that Vince was actually going to do things to change Raw when he was put back in place, when he was put back in power, that it became nauseating the amount of times that people would say, oh, Vince did this, Vince did that, Vince did this. At this point, I could give two shits less what Vince McMahon does, and I'm just going to sit here and watch the show, and if the show is good, then the show is good. If the show is not, then the show is not. But it's not but I'm not looking for the 3 hour episode of Raw to be perfect. I'm looking for the 3 hour episode of Raw to be something worth watching. And with Punk, I don't care if he's in AEW, I don't care if he's out of AEW, because the one thing I was interested in is the fact that in that match from Collision, it brought up the possibility of Punk against Samoa Joe again, and revisiting something we haven't thought about in 20 years because of the fact that this is the first time that Punk and Samoa Joe are back in the same company since their days in Ring of Honor. So fact of the matter is, I don't care about the backlash of his ESPN interview. I don't care about the backlash of his promo on Collision. I care about what happens next for CM Punk in AEW, and I don't care what Vince McMahon is doing to change Monday Night Raw, because if anything, from what I heard about what he changed on Raw this week, it actually made sense. And it actually was something that should have been changed, because it meant building up to the pay-per-view on July 1st and building up the world title match, and because the world title match is something that always should be built up and always should have some extra time to get built up, because it should be one of the most important matches on the show, considering it's for the most important title in the company. So no, I don't care. I don't care about the bad stuff, because I'm tired of talking about it. But we're gonna move on from that, and we're gonna go the route of talking about good things, including Edge celebrating 35 years. Edge celebrating 25 years in WWE, as his first match was earlier this week in June 19th, 1998. This week is 25 years in WWE for the Rated R Superstar. And it's also 35 years in the professional wrestling business for Shawn Michaels. So congratulations to both. Edge celebrating 25 years from his first match in 1998 in WWE, and Shawn Michaels celebrating 35 years in the professional wrestling business, debuting back in 1988. Also, we saw the return of both Tommaso Ciampa, who returned and defeated The Miz, showing that he's no longer aligned with his former partner. He returned, what's today? Tuesday? So he returned last night on Raw to attack The Miz. And also last night we saw the return of Logan Paul. And Logan Paul officially entered Money in the Bank, which is a good thing because Logan Paul does fit in the Money in the Bank match. But I think I stand with everybody else when I say that I don't want to see Logan Paul win Money in the Bank. Logan Paul does not belong holding that briefcase, winning Money in the Bank. The person that belongs winning Money in the Bank is L.A. Knight. Yeah. And, well, that's a fact. The other side of the coin is that WWE is adding more pay-per-views to the premium live event calendar with the return of Fastlane in September Payback in September and Fastlane in October. Payback and Fastlane have both been gone for a couple of years and are now both back in the premium live event calendar as of this past week, which when the announcement was made, and as of actually earlier today, apparently, when Paul Heyman announced the return of Fastlane on the Pat McAfee show. So both Fastlane and Payback are back in the calendar, and I, for one, don't necessarily mind. I think, not that I mind what WWE did this month, where WWE basically did not have a pay-per-view this month and is taking a month off after having 2 pay-per-views last month. I just think that in some cases WWE it's more strange when WWE does not have multiple pay-per-views a month, or a pay-per-view in a month. It is more strange when that happens as opposed to something that's expected. That might just be my opinion, but I think, I do think that's I do think that that's the case. And also, in his return, Tommaso Ciampa actually referenced DIY because Ciampa wants it all. He wants SmackDown, he wants Raw, he wants the premium live events, he wants the briefcase and Money in the Bank. And sometimes you just gotta do it yourself. So he did reference his previous tag team with Johnny Gargano, but I think it's not going to be something that we see happen overnight. It's something that's going to happen progressively when we see the return of DIY. Which is going to be a welcomed addition to the WWE Tag Team division. Because, well, WWE could always use depth in the Tag Team division, as that is something that they don't necessarily have in their Tag Team division 90% of the time. Because, well, tag teams are usually secondary in WWE, and something that they don't necessarily care about for one reason or another. Because I think it's because Vince doesn't see money in tag teams, he sees money in singles. Even though there are money in tag teams, it's just that Vince doesn't view it that way. But the tag team division, in my opinion, with the infusion of DIY, will be among the best tag team divisions WWE has had in a very, very, very long time. And also, we saw the fulfillment of the Field in the women's tag team title, the women's Money in the Bank as well. But we will speak about that and the NXT Gold Rush tonight. In the next news video. But before we go, I just want to say that Chris Hero is one of the many people that have been added to the long list of people hired by AEW to work backstage. But apparently, Chris Hero is not working backstage at AEW. He's working backstage for Ring of Honor, and worked the most recent edition of the Ring of Honor tapings backstage, which the most recent tapings were the debut edition of Collision this past weekend. with that being said, that is it for me in this one, and I will see you in the next video.